Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fourth Down Fiasco, your go-to podcast for all things football. I'm going to redo that.
Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? You are showing me nothing.
Fires, Mike Sims, Walker, knocked down.
Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again.
Jackson takes it himself. Look at him dart back and forth. Oh! He broke his ankles.
I have never seen this before in my life.
Still looking, firing, near corner. It's caught.
Denver, unbelievable.
Welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fourth Down Fiasco, your go-to podcast for all things football. The guys are laughing because I definitely muffed the first intro take, but we're here now. So super excited to be with y'all. This is post-draft right now. But before we dive into things, do want to just say, please rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That really does help us grow the pod as quick as possible. Yes, we're all $5 foot long. Sorry, y'all put up the 5, but truly, give us a 5-star review and comment $5 foot long. That would make my day if I saw that somewhere in the comments. Today we are recapping the draft. So in segment 1, we're going to start off, of course, with some updates about our lives, especially with Tanner. He's got some stuff going on right now that's super exciting. But we're going to give you our overall reaction of the first round, what kind of stuck out to us. Then in segment 2, we're going to give our best and worst draft teams from this past weekend. And then segment 3, we are going to give who our top 3 favorite picks were and why. So with that, I am the Dallas Mavericks Deviant, and with me are the rising stars of the podcast industry, the diabolical douchebag Danny Weber, and, and the LA Clipper Killjoy Tanner Vinsky. Say hello to the people.
Hey.
Hello.
Sorry, Danny, since you don't really like basketball like that, I just kind of glazed over it and just made you a douchebag. So
No, he loves the Cavs.
Cavs lover.
Are you? I thought Cincinnati and Cleveland had beef. That's what I thought. Okay, just making sure.
No, both of us dislike the Cavs pretty heavily.
Give me the Royals back, baby.
No, let's not do that.
We're bringing the Royals back.
No, let's not. With that, it's fourth down and goal to go. It's fourth down and goal to go, Daniel. And if you keep talking, we're not going to hear the snap count. So with that,
We missed it. We got a 5-yard penalty.
Yep.
False start.
Now we're going to lose the game.
Offense. Jordan.
I'm going to let Tanner give the life update first, just because he's got, I think between the 3 of us, he's got the most going on. Tanner, what's going on in life before we dive into draft recap?
Yeah, so it's not going to look like it with the episodes we've been kind of putting out, just because we had some things pre-recorded and uploaded at different times. But I haven't sat down and recorded with the boys in probably close to a month, right?
I was going to say it's been at least 3 weeks, yeah.
Been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So, but it's not going to look like that because we cycled through some old content. But
yeah, last week's episode was completely pre-recorded for anyone wondering.
Yeah, so it's just the way it goes. But I moved from Salt Lake City to Columbia, South Carolina. So I went mostly coast to coast. So we're now in the Eastern time zone, which is going to make it even more fun for us to get together and record.
Yeah, seriously.
Honestly, that's better for me because that means we'll do it earlier in the day.
We'll do it earlier. Yep.
I'm about that life. Danny's a night owl. He wants to record at like 11 p.m. at night and shit. And I'm like, I go to bed at 9.
When have I ever said 11?
I don't know.
I will leak our text thread to prove that I never said 11.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, so my wife and I moved out to the East Coast. I'm getting engrossed in the South Carolina culture already. We'll see if I have an accent within the next 2 years.
Is the food
It's already
good?
starting to get there.
Is the food good?
I haven't actually had any like Southern barbecue yet, but everything I've eaten has been pretty good. I'm saving for when we're like settled down to get some barbecue in case it does something bad to my stomach.
Yeah, fair. Well, at least it'll be at the house you're currently at instead of your house if something did happen.
I know, that's what I'm thinking, right? Because I love Southern food. It's like probably best food on the planet. So
either that or Mexican, one of the two. Which, if we're being honest,
it is one of the two.
Mexican food is just spicy Southern food, you know, because they're even
just a
further
little
south.
more Southern.
Yeah,
there's a reason my wife is Mexican.
She makes some pretty good food.
She's also a wonderful woman.
He married her just for the food. It's okay. No, we went camping one time and she made all the food and it was absolutely delicious.
Well, I mean, it doesn't take much to blow your mind as far as food, Danny. So, Daniel, do you want to give your life update since I'm being a dick to you?
I don't know. My life hasn't changed a lot. I'm going to a Savannah Bananas baseball game in a couple weeks. So that'd be fun.
Like a good time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous.
And
they're not coming to Denver, are they?
No, it's Oklahoma. I invited you, but you said no.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to Oklahoma just for a Savannah.
No, yeah. And I'm going to Myrtle Beach. How close you are to Myrtle Beach, Tanner?
Like an hour and a half.
What are you doing next week?
Probably going to Myrtle Beach. I don't know. If you're going to Myrtle Beach next week, then.
So next week you guys will be recording in Myrtle together. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Check out for an episode between Tanner and I on the beach.
On the beach. Fun thing about South Carolinians, they do not like Myrtle Beach. They call it Murder Beach.
Yeah.
I think it's ghetto as shit. They hate it.
I've only heard good things about Myrtle Beach. That's weird.
Yeah, but it's because it's a tourist trap. So everybody in South Carolina is like, fuck that place.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough.
That's true.
Danny, is that it for your life update? That you're going to Myrtle Beach and seeing Savannah Bananas?
For now, yeah, I guess.
Fair enough. My birthday is not this Saturday, but next Saturday, and I'm going to the Rangers Rockies game here in Denver. Go Rangers!
R.I.P. I was supposed to go.
Yeah, you were, but instead you're going to be in Myrtle Beach.
Shucks. Downtown Denver or Myrtle Beach?
Hey, well, you know what? I'm just excited of the thought of getting just absolutely obliterated on my birthday and not.
Are you going to do the 999 challenge?
What is that?
9 beers, 9 hot dogs, 9 innings.
No, because I'm running a 5K on Sunday. No thanks. That just.
Oh, dude, you can just run it all off after that. You'll be good.
It'll be fine.
Nah, I'm all right.
Just vomit all of it.
Now I might have 9 beers though, straight up.
Why not it's 9 hot dogs. That's fine.
Dude, I don't even like hot dogs like that. That's gross.
No one likes 9 hot dogs.
Ugh.
Yeah, that would be disgusting.
Yeah, I would vomit just from that alone. No beer.
You're just praying for a 4-hour game instead of an hour-and-a-half game.
Yeah, 9 beers is just a Tuesday night, you know?
Yeah, exactly. 9 beers is easy. 9 hot dogs. That sounds like a sausage fest.
New Belgium want to sponsor us?
Or Yingling. I'm back on the East Coast. I can finally have Yingling again.
True. Sam Adams, if you're talking East Coast.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I got that, and then I did get hired to be a part-time college instructor in the fall. So
You did get that. Good job.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you going to be teaching?
Public speaking.
Nice. There you go.
I told people at church about that, and they go, "There's no surprise about that." So
Not at all.
There you go.
So
Yeah, you should have seen my beat-ups. He was just walking around to like random tables.
yeah, no, I was just approaching people. Granted, I was also multiple beers deep and IPAs and that, so I was extra friendly to people. But yeah, it was a good time.
We're the fastest growing fan-focused football podcast on the internet.
Hey, that is a truthful statement.
Let's go. Yeah.
So, it's very specific, but it is truthful. I was like, how can I make it sound impressive without lying on record? So, yeah. Fastest growing fan first podcast because it's the off season. So most of the podcasts aren't trying to do anything right now.
I don't know how many other fan-focused podcasts there are as well.
Exactly. So I'm just like, I'm doubling up right now. So, all right. So with that, let's dive into our draft recap. For those of y'all listening, we will be uploading our live first round reaction of me and Danny. I will warn y'all, the audio quality on it is absolute shit.
Is it?
It is, and
Nice.
I know why. I know how to fix it for next time, so we'll be okay. But yeah, so I apologize for those of y'all who came here that were actually at B-Dubs and wanted to listen to the live recording. I don't recommend listening to the live recording, but it'll be there.
What happened? I didn't listen to it.
Basically, we can't do the 4-mic setup. There was too much reverb and echo, and I'm not going to go through a almost 4-hour pod and cut out whenever you're talking versus when I'm talking versus when other people are talking. And so,
Fair.
yeah, until we start
What do
making
you mean?
money. If we start making money, yeah, I'll sit through that bitch. But until then, while it's just a passion project, no. But first round reactions. What's stuck out to y'all? Any picks that surprised anyone? Do we need to address the elephant
Can we
in the
just
room?
count down from 3 and I'll say the pick that surprised us?
Sure, you got it, Danny. Count us down.
3, 2, 1. Michael
Penix.
Michael Penis, if you're on the Instagram.
Atlanta Falcons social media.
Crazy that they put Michael Penis, and then also there was like the angle on the stream where it said the dick is in.
Yes.
Coincidence?
True.
About that. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of jokes.
NFL baby. Tanner,
Yeah.
we had Jordan and I had a time to soak it in and react together. But
We
what
had
was
a
your
few.
initial reaction?
I don't know, lol Falcons, right? Like
Bull Falcons.
Typical.
it doesn't. So, okay. It was stupid when the Packers did it with Jordan Love. And Jordan Love was about 4 years younger. And
Penix is only
it sort of
23.
worked out. He's about to turn 24 in like 5 days.
About 24 then.
Yeah. So for me, I don't get it. I don't really even. I think the Packers lucked their way into Jordan Love being good, and it shouldn't have worked out.
Yeah.
So I'm really like super anti this. I mean, you're paying Kirk Cousins this ridiculous amount of money, and it's like, okay, you got 3 years, let's win a Super Bowl. And the first year you got him, and it's like, all right, let's give him this good
Nothing.
defense. He's got a lot of good skill position players. What's the first thing you do? Draft his successor. Sweet. Good way to really make it great with your
And not even
quarterback
tell him
play.
for like the
yeah,
minute
and not even
before.
tell him.
Yeah.
And it's
Sorry. Continue.
no, I'd vent about it for 30 minutes if I keep going. It's just it's a stupid pick. There's like no reason to do it. And
so
even if Michael Penix works out, you probably have not won a Super Bowl, which makes it like just so idiotic because it's like Kirk Cousins is supposed to be the guy that's going to get you the Super Bowl. And let's say Michael Penix does work out. Well, guess what? Michael Penix is starting when he's 27. The Browns drafted Brandon Weeden at 28, and we all went, you guys are idiots. And now we're going to have the Falcons starting a dude at 27.
yeah. Honestly, I don't hate the pick because there's going to be uncertainty of Cousins' Achilles. You never know what's going to come from that. There's always Achilles are such a hard injury to come back from just because your body's going to force other parts of your body to work harder, so you're going to re-injure yourself. There's a high % chance after that. But what I hate the most is that they traded up 2 spots over teams that both had quarterbacks.
And moved up
To take
2
a
spots
quarterback.
whenever there were other plenty good
Yeah.
quarterbacks on the board. Well,
Like no, the Jets and the Bears were not taking Michael Penix. So for them to jump the Bears, who just took their franchise quarterback 8 picks earlier, I thought, oh, they're taking a Dunze. They jumped the Bears to take their wide receiver. And then Penix came in.
It's because what most likely happened is they were worried that the Broncos or the Vikings were going to trade with them. Or they were going to trade with the Bears and jump them for Penix, and that's why they did it.
Yeah,
Which I can understand that logic if you don't already have your guy in the locker room.
yeah.
So that's why I hate the pick, because it's like,
Yeah.
what is the message to the NFL now? Oh, Kirk Cousins isn't the guy. Then why did you give him money like he's the guy?
Yeah.
And I understand the injury concerns, to Danny's point. I understand the injury concerns, the uncertainty. There's nothing wrong with drafting a backup quarterback if you have a quarterback who has a history of injuries. But to trade up and to use this, high first round pick in order to pick up a guy who in my opinion, I think Penix will be good. Granted, we will never know probably because by the time he's eligible to play, he's going to be like 45. But I think he would be a fantastic system quarterback. I think he is a guy that if you put the right weapons around him, he can thrive. But also at the same time, if you're drafting a backup quarterback, you don't do that in the first round.
Yeah.
Or if you do, you trade back and you go, late first round pick with it.
And that's also part of why I hate it more than the Packers did. The Packers took Jordan Love at like 24.
Yeah.
The Falcons took Penix at 8. And it's like, and honestly, like, yes, I think Michael Penix is way, 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 way better than Spencer Rattler. But if you wanted somebody who was going to start and as this bridge guy for you, why not just wait until round 3 or 4 and get Rattler instead if Kirk Cousins goes down?
Yeah.
That would have made way more sense to me, but
I agree.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how you take Penix when Adunze's on the board, Olu's on the board, Brock Bowers is still on the board, Fuaga's on the board, and literally any defensive person is on the board.
Yeah.
Your number 1 defensive pick is on the board.
Yeah.
And then you take a backup quarterback. But it's also a really weird draft for quarterbacks. Like, we were talking to Jordan Edel about it because he was like, I don't know how I feel about having the 6th quarterback of the draft, but it was top 12. That's never happened before.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the craziest part about it is it's 6 quarterbacks in the top 12, and then the next quarterback didn't go until the 5th round.
Absurd. And then no defensive guys till the 15th.
Yeah, I did think that was odd because there were definitely some teams that were picking where I was like, bro, you need help on defense.
It's an offensive league.
It is, but defense wins championships, Yeah, that's how I see it.
Honestly, though, the top 14 picks are good players, solid players that will make immediate impact. Mm-hmm. And obviously the top
besides Penix
as well. Oh, yeah. Excluding that.
One pick that
he would have made impact.
Yeah,
he would.
One pick that did surprise me, just for the sake of one that's just falling into this team's lap, which really made me mad, and really just that. Honestly, it was the Xavier Worthy pick to Kansas City. That pissed me off.
Well, what really pisses me off about that is why would the Bills do that trade? You're literally making your biggest target in the AFC your main rival, and you're like, yeah, let's help them out.
Yeah.
When they needed a wide receiver.
Yeah, that was their key need was wide receiver and some O-line depth,
Everything. They lost so much.
But yeah, and I think I'll probably circle back around to Worthy later on. But, I've talked about him plenty of times on this pod about how I think that he's fantastic and that if you put him with the right team, he's going to thrive. And this is the team that there is no better quarterback for any wide receiver coming in, but especially a guy like Xavier Worthy, who
with
his whole thing is, he only has one speed, and it is go, and it is fast as lightning. It is side to side, he's quick. Straight line speed, he's quick. His route running is nasty. I would not be surprised if he's not in talks for Rookie of the Year. I also wouldn't be surprised if he made a Pro Bowl as a rookie and just put up ungodly numbers, because that's what Patty's going to do with this guy.
And the new kickoff rule, because he is a deadly kick returner in college, and now they are forced to return the ball in the NFL.
Yep. Yeah. He's
let's trade back to the 2nd round.
He's going to be Devin Hester on steroids. It's going to be crazy.
I know. I will say I was tweeting with Glenn, our Bills correspondent, from a while ago.
Shout out to Goodberry.
He was saying with how big of a cap hell the Bills were in, they couldn't afford to take multiple, like a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd round pick, to pay them all. He said they had to trade back to get cheap labor.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He's like, it's cheaper to take like all our picks from like 3 to 7 than pay 1, 2, 3 and everyone else.
See,
I mean, that's just front office like mismanagement to all hell.
Yep. But
Like,
I will say,
good franchises don't have that issue.
no, where you literally like when you're scared to take a first round pick. But to back off Jordan's like felon lap thing, this team didn't have to move for this player to fall in, and it happens every single year, like Tanner pointed out in our text thread and in this conversation before we started recording. But Nate Wiggins to the Ravens. They never have to do anything in the late first round, and they just have a star player fall to them. And it's, I don't know how. It happened last year, it happened this year. But yeah, like
It happens every year.
Yeah, they got the 4th best defensive back at pick 30.
This is a complete side note, but just to pump up the boys in that division, Tanner, I'm gonna toss this one to you. I also thought that the Fautanu, or is that how you pronounce his last name? Fautanu.
I think it's Fautanu.
Fautanu. We will Google that later on and find out for sure. But I had him as the best offensive lineman coming out. And I thought, as soon as y'all picked him, I was so mad because I was hoping that he'd fall to us, and he didn't. So screw y'all for that. But also at the same time, great pick. Loved it.
Yeah.
So I'll talk a little bit about the Fautanu pick right now. I think it was a really risky decision by the Bengals to go Mims over him. And I don't necessarily hate it. Like, I don't hate the idea of it. Well, no. And sorry.
You don't hate the idea of the Bengals pick or the
Bengals pick. And the reason why I don't hate it from the Bengals perspective is because Mims is the ultimate boom versus bust like lineman prospect. He's massive. He has the athletic tools. If he develops, he's a Hall of Famer. However, he's extremely raw.
Yeah, and this is the first time in years the Bengals haven't need to like immediately throw a rookie into our starting
which
line.
Helps. Yeah.
And so I saw a stat. Our offensive line total weight is over 1,200 pounds for 5 people.
Ooh.
We have 3 of them that are 6'8", 330 pounds. Like Mims himself is 6'8", 340, and then we have Orlando Brown and Trent Brown that are also 6'8", like 325 to 340. Yeah, wow, so we have tall guys. I like your boom or bust thing because that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
Well, and I think with Mike Tomlin at the helm, it's more of a boom than a bust. I think it's safer with him as a head coach, ensuring that he's put in the right situations because he's the type of coach that gets every ounce of greatness out of his players. I think if other, fill in the blank with a couple of other teams, like if. I'm trying to just pull something out of my ass here. If the Bills would have picked him, or if the Browns would have picked him, or something like that, it would have been like, I would agree with it. But I think Mike Tomlin is one of those for sure going to get the best out of type of coaches. So I think that y'all are going to be fine with him. And I think that this really elevates Russell Wilson for y'all too, just because I think that he does better on the run and has historically done better on the run than he does as a pocket passer. And so there are all kinds, especially with the athleticism that Vata now has. I think that it's really going to benefit Russ.
Yeah.
Do you want him on the inside or outside? Sorry.
So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take Broderick off of right tackle and put him back at left tackle, which is what he played in college. And then we'll put Fautanu on right tackle. And then we drafted a center in the second round. We're going to plug him into the center position. And then we'll have Samalu, I think, at right guard, and we'll have Chase Daniels at left guard. So our O-line, if those two guys are good, if Fautanu and the center we took, I forget his name, if they're good, our O-line is good.
Is it Frazier that's the other guy?
Yeah, Zach Frazier.
Yeah.
So you guys are gonna have to learn quick, or you're gonna have a rough couple weeks in the NFL.
But we took but the thing is why I liked that we took Fata now and that center is because they were the most pro ready guys.
They're experienced.
Yeah. Well, and also just, sheer size too. Because, sometimes you get these O linemen who come in and they're just a hair under 300 pounds. And it's like, we gotta beef him up. He might have good footwork. He might have good technique, but he's just not big enough, just not strong enough. I mean, I remember that was a thing with Tyler Biotish for us back whenever he was a rookie. Was first half of the season, he got bullied around just because he was so much smaller. Whereas Fontenau is 6'4" and 320 pounds. Like he's already going into training camp as a big boy, and he's only going to become a bigger boy. So.
Frazier's kind of the same way. He's sitting at 6'3", 313. He's a 4-year starter, 3-time captain, and apparently he was a 4-time heavyweight wrestling champion in high school.
Which is good because our center last year was a freaking turnstile. He was terrible.
And so was your backup, Nate Herbig.
Yes.
That wrestling background is very helpful with footwork, technique, things like that. So,
he also played at West Virginia, which helps too because he was close.
West Virginia.
Any other picks that really stood out to y'all before we kick it to commercial break? Give y'all last minute to, get through some guys.
I really like the Taron Arnold pick with Detroit. They needed a good defender, and they got him.
Fair enough.
Quick
Anyone else
shout
in
out.
the first round? Anybody?
Do you got anybody else, Danny, or I got one more guy?
I have one more. I hate that it feels like it always happens at Cincinnati, but someone always trades one pick ahead of them. The Steelers did it twice in one draft, but Minnesota taking Dallas Turner at 17. I really wanted Turner. I think he's going to be great.
Yeah, he's going to
really fills the hole that Hunter left, and I was hoping he'd fall one more spot.
Yeah,
but I knew
Turner should have probably been the first guy up, like the first defensive guy.
Oh no, he should have went. Who was it? He should have went 8 to the Falcons. He could have went to 7 to Tennessee. Honestly, he could have went 11 to the Jets.
There's a lot of places he could have gone.
Yeah, the Saints as well needed D, but then somehow Latu went before Turner. Which who knows who's going to be better? They're all really good.
Yeah,
but I just hate that the Vikings jumped us because as soon as I saw pick traded to the Vikings, I said, "Yep, there's Turner."
Dallas Turner. The last guy I'll say, I don't like the Raiders taking Brock Bowers.
It's weird,
and I feel like I never like the Raiders picks. I don't think I've ever gone through a draft cycle where I'm like, oh yeah, the Raiders took someone really good in the first round. I'm always like, why would you? And again, I like Brock Bowers. I think he's going to be really good, but you already had Michael Mayer and you had better positions to address. Like Dallas Turner probably would have been really good alongside Max Crosby.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Probably would have been a much better pick than having Brock Bowers as your number 1 tight end and then pushing Michael Mayer to number 2 tight end.
Yeah.
Michael Mayer's a dog. I think he could have been great as the tight end 1 in that system, but now he's just not going to play.
Yeah. Well, I just looked up the 23 draft real quick, and it's quickly how fast I forgot that we were like, oh, the Bears had pick 1 and 9. That's great. I forgot the Texans had 2 and 3 last year. But the Raiders also took Tyree Wilson, a defensive end last year, first round, pick 7.
And I didn't like Tyree Wilson.
Maybe they were just scared not to just repeat the same thing.
My last pick before we kick it, that I wouldn't say that it surprised me, but I think that this team's going to be very happy with what they got, is Denver getting Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I personally thought Bo Nix was the best quarterback in the draft. But, whenever you play for a Pac-12 school, lesser competition.
Yeah.
But
I like that they paired him with his wide receiver as well.
Yeah. That'll work out real well, I think, in Denver. I think they're going to be very happy to have them both. So
Yeah.
So I love Bo Nix, and I think Bo Nix would be good, but he's going to Denver, so he's going to be a bust.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
And on that note, let's kick it to commercial break. Just a quick word from our sponsors, and we will be back right after this.
Picture this. You're the proud owner of a business, and you've got it all. The hustle, the bustle, and the occasional office kitchen mishap that turns into an alarm-triggering emergency.
Oh!
But fear not. Western States Fire Protection is here to turn your workplace into a disaster-free zone. Our in-house team handles everything from fire sprinklers to alarms and monitoring, inspections, extinguishers, and more.
Whew. Crisis averted. Thanks, Western States Fire Protection.
No problem. We've been protecting lives and property since 1985, and we take our job seriously, even when your employees don't.
Oh no, not again.
Visit WSFP.com to request a quote. Because when your microwave thinks it's a flamethrower, we're the heroes you need.
And welcome back to the Fourth Down Fiasco, your go-to podcast for all things football. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate every listen that we do receive. We're going to go ahead and dive into who we believe were the best and worst teams in the draft this past weekend. So, who wants to go first? Anybody want to volunteer?
You can go first.
Me?
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. For best teams, the teams that I believe picked the best, Tanner, you're going to be really happy to hear this. Pittsburgh. Again, I love the Fatano. I should have looked that
Just
up.
say their first round pick.
Or
Troy.
Their first round pick, Troy. Troy's a badass. We love Troy. I also thought that Frazier was a good pickup for y'all. Roman Wilson's a touchdown machine. I think that he really has a nose for the end zone. And then even Logan Lee had some solid production on a very stout Iowa defense. Good run stopper, kind of average in pass rush. Definitely a project, but I think that, just with how good y'all are with defense, he's going to do just fine. So I thought that y'all had a fantastic draft as a whole. And then the other team that I have that I thought had a fantastic draft was actually Kansas City. Because again, with the worthy pick number one, it pains me to say it. I heard you sigh, Danny. It pains me to say it, but I thought Kansas City did a fantastic job in the draft.
I agree.
They got so many lineman pickups, which is what they need. And then I think that Jared Wiley is also another guy who has a nose for the end zone. Great athlete. Plays similar to Mark Andrews. Does not block like Mark Andrews. I want that on record. He's not a very good blocker, whereas Mark Andrews is pretty darn good blocker, but has that same kind of big, athletic, big-bodied type of play style that Mark Andrews plays with. So those are my two bests.
Yeah. Tanner?
So I will piggyback on the Steelers. I also thought that they had an amazing draft. You kind of touched on everybody. I also a pick that not a lot of people are probably going to look at, but was probably my favorite pick of the draft was Peyton Willis out of NC State.
Very solid.
His issue is I think he doesn't have an ACL.
Nice. You can't tear it if you don't have it
anymore. But that not ideal. Not a great situation. He's been very injury prone, but he's kind of, if he works out, he's going to be kind of like our due diligence from the Devin Bush pick. When we drafted Devin Bush at 10, he plays like Devin Bush, but he's faster, stronger, and bigger. So he should actually be able to cover tight ends. So
and even with him being injury prone, I mean, y'all still picked him up later in the draft. I think taking a fly, I think taking a flyer on a guy who's injury prone in a later round is totally fine. It's just not smart to do it in like the first or second round.
No, not at all. But he I think if he is the player that he was in college and that translate and he stays non-injured, he's going to be the Ryan Shazier replacement that we've been looking for.
Ryan Shazier
since forever.
A name.
Yeah. I mean, if Ryan Shazier didn't get injured, we'd probably have a Super Bowl. That's like my tinfoil hat. Like he No, he was like what held that defense together, and then we saw how terrible that defense was once he went down. So I think if we can finally replace that at middle linebacker and finally have like a really good middle linebacker, I think it's good for the future of the Steelers. And the other team that I had that was really good was the fucking Ravens.
Tell me how you really feel, Tanner.
It's bullshit. That's how I feel.
Okay. I like it. Talk your shit.
Every year, the Ravens just sit there, don't do anything, right? And they just have players fall into their lap, and they just get rewarded for, being a well-run franchise, which, well-run franchises should be, but I hate that we play them twice a year. Yep. I don't know. And it's weird, as I've gotten older, I've just grown to respect the Ravens in a way that I thought I never would, just because of how well-run their organization is, how well they compete, and just Ravens Steelers, in my opinion, is just the best week of football any week. Like, it's just such a beautiful shit show of a game, and it's here we are. Like, Nate Wiggins was just such a good pick. I think getting a decent Isaac out of Penn State in the 3rd round, like, are you kidding me? I like the UNC receiver they got too, Devontae Walker.
Yeah,
I got him in the 4th. He probably should have been like a 2nd or 3rd round dude. Like, it's just so many good things. I think Devin Leary is going to be a good backup for Lamar, and they got him in the 6th. I think he won't be too bad. I kind of like their running back out of Marshall. That dude was tearing it up. Rasheen Ali. He was really good at Marshall, and yeah, he played at a small school, so let's see how well he actually does type thing. But, I mean, yeah, every year.
It's brutal.
Yeah, I don't know how it happens, but it's frustrating.
I'm so glad I don't have to play them twice a year. So I'm like, yeah, good job, Baltimore.
We can't have all the Giants and Commanders in our conference or division.
Well, we got the Browns, so we can't talk too much shit.
Yeah,
it's only one team.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Hey, Commanders are going to be decent this year, okay?
No, that's true.
Decent,
that's true.
Not good, decent.
And the Giants haven't always been a shit show. The Giants actually have had some really good years, whereas the Browns have
never. Hey, they have one playoff win against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
What a dick.
Who's your other team?
No, that was both of them.
All right.
Yeah, it's you, Danny.
I just wanted to get out of that real fast.
The diabolical douchebag. What you got for us?
You're not going to like this. I'm taking the Eagles. That's one of mine. Because apparently they tried to trade up to take Quinion Mitchell, and they could never get a trade through, but he ended up falling to them at 22.
They got him anyways.
Yeah. So, Wizard Howie Roseman somehow lucked into getting Quinion Mitchell and then followed him up with Cooper DeJean. How you get the two best cornerbacks in the NFL or in the college in 2 different drafts? I don't know.
Philly breaking the color barrier.
Yeah, getting the black white bull back, baby.
Honestly, Philly is the perfect place for a white dude to be a corner. I feel like Philly or Atlanta, like those are the two places where they would really embrace a white dude doing a black man's job,
Yeah. I don't know what happened to Tanner. He's just dying over there.
Tanner knew where we were going with that conversation is what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget what someone said, but someone said something made me laugh. I was drinking.
I was just like, Cooper just fell into their lap in the second round. But then they also brought in Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who his dad used to play for the Eagles in the 3rd round. So I just somehow they were trying to figure out how to get Mitchell and nothing worked out and it ended up falling for him. So talk about falling into your lap. But they beefed up a defense that they needed desperately to fix.
I'm not moved.
You don't have to be. I'm not asking for your opinion. These are mine, not yours. You'll have your time.
You're right. I'm so sorry. Forgive me, douchebag. Forgive me.
And then my second team, you said they had a good draft. The Commanders. I do like what the Commanders did.
Yeah.
They got their quarterback.
That was upsetting.
They got Johnny Newton the second round. They got another defensive back. Then they got I think the best tight end. He has to be one of the highest ranked tight ends out of this draft. Ben Sinoit.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was Sino.
I don't know. It's Sinnott. How you have two silent T's beyond me.
I don't know. What if he's French?
French bullshit.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But yeah. Let's see I don't know what his stats are. Let's look at it real quick. Let's see. Come on, load.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. I thought that the Commanders said, I will always be just such an Eagles hater that I have no comments about the Eagles. But I think the Commanders drafted pretty well.
Yeah. The only bad thing they did is their offensive line is absolute garbage, and they didn't take an offensive lineman until round 3 with TCU guard Brandon Coleman.
Someone pulled
but Coleman's solid though.
No, I'm not saying he's not.
They need
their
more than
current
Coleman.
line is garbage.
yeah. They needed 2 to 3 Colemans, but
yeah. Well, Tanner,
who else took a quarterback? I'm trying to think.
The Bears, Commanders, Patriots, Falcons, Vikings, Broncos, until the Saints in the 5th. Why?
Maybe it was the Patriots. I thought I was thinking of someone else.
Drake May?
Yeah, Drake. So what people were saying was kind of like what what Washington did with Kirk Cousins RG3. It was kind of like what this team did, taking a quarterback early, then taking a quarterback late. The Patriots did that with Drake May and Joe Milton out of Tennessee. But I wasn't sure if one of those other teams also did that. I thought it was Washington, but I'm looking at their...
Wow, so Drake May is going to be QB2 next year. Crazy.
Well, RG3 got a couple years until he died on the field. I forgot about Joe Milton. He was pretty solid, actually.
Yeah, that's why. Maybe it was. For some reason, I thought it was someone else, but maybe it was.
Did Minnesota take another quarterback? Nope. They took a kicker, though, in the 6th round.
Dude, shout out. Yeah, it must have been the Patriots. But yeah, maybe that's how that will go. Maybe Drake May will suck, and then
if one doesn't work out, you have a second.
If I'm going to be a Josh Allen hater on this pod, I'm going to be a Drake May hater on this pod. That's just how the cookie crumbles.
It happens.
It just is what it is. For worse teams, I think we can all agree, just because they didn't have a ton of picks and they were later picks, Browns just sucked. They had the worst draft, and they
had nothing.
Yeah, it was like Browns giant gap everyone else. They sucked. Again though, because the limited picks, late picks, and their picks honestly weren't even all that great. I have the Falcons, but we've kind of already brushed on why, with the Penix pick. Also, I thought getting McClellan, even if it was a later pick, was kind of odd. I don't see what kind of value he brings, just because they've already got 2 badass running backs. So, I mean, I guess maybe they're just looking at depth, but I don't know. I feel like they could have done something else there. And then my other team that I thought didn't have the best draft was the 49ers. I don't know. I feel like the Parasol pickup, he was good wide receiver, big punt threat, but I feel like he got drafted the way that he did because he was a punt threat. And I know that they're changing the rules right now, but I'm still kind of in the mindset of you don't pick people specifically because of what they bring for special teams, at least not in the first round. I feel like Parasol could have been there for the second round and everything would have been fine. Also, what were you going to say?
No, I'm going to say I'm very curious about the Ricky Purcell pick just because of CJ Stroud's reaction. He was so sad when he got picked. So for a professional NFL quarterback to really want a guy and get taken 3 spots before their team, I don't know.
Real quick, Tanner, what did you say this pick was for San Fran? What did you call that? I just want to hear it one more time.
Something about the assembly of the all cracker team.
Sorry, I had to. A couple other picks that I didn't particularly care for.
Which is a shame they missed out on Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, it really is. That would have been
Luke McCaffrey.
That would have been elite.
He would have the Commanders.
But Renardo Green had one interception in 5 years. And yeah, this past season, he had a lot of pass deflections. But I think that being able to cause turnover supersedes that in value pretty greatly, just because I remember the Cowboys for a while went after a bunch of guys who were locked down corners, but they didn't get interceptions. And that doesn't work on the pro level, just because if I'm a quarterback and I know, hey, this ball's not going to get picked off, I'm still going to throw it your way. Whereas you get a guy who's an actual ball hawk, quarterbacks think twice about that. So there's that. And then I do think that Mustafa for them was a good pickup in the later rounds. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he's better than Green. For that exact reason of, I think he only had one interception this season, but he also had a forced fumble too. So I do think that he'll be able to cause more turnovers. So yeah, 49ers, not their best draft. And that makes me kind of happy. As a prime hater. Tanner?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to add. I think this was one of those years where you kind of look at it and you're like, I don't really think anybody had too terrible of a draft.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was struggling to find people who didn't draft well, so I just picked on the 49ers because fuck them.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier, I hate that the Bills did what they did, just because it's just front office mismanagement, and that wouldn't happen to the teams that they're trying to compete with. And if you're going to keep running into those issues, it doesn't make you a serious threat for a Super Bowl run, in my opinion. If you're literally running into cap issues before you even hit the draft, like that.
Well, and I didn't know that tidbit until Danny said something, or I probably would have changed my notes to having them on the list. Probably instead of.
Wait, what did I say?
About how they couldn't take a first round pick because they would have gone over the cap or whatever.
Yeah, something stupid.
Yeah, that's just that can't happen. If you want to compete and if you want to win a Super Bowl and you want to be seen as one of the top dogs of the AFC, that doesn't make me feel like you are. That makes me feel like you're closer to Cleveland than you are to Kansas City.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, but that's really it for them. The rest of their draft was honestly not too bad. They did get a lot of draft capital out of trading out of the first round, which is cool. So that went well for them. Falcons, obviously, just like, what are you doing? We already touched on that a lot. I don't want to dogpile them anymore. And my favorite, just because, I also need to be a hater too, is I just love that the Browns, are more akin to a USFL team than an NFL team, like they just continue to always be on the wrong side of every deal they do. They just everything. They can't do
every
anything
draft
right.
Pick, every trade.
They finally had something going for them. They finally did it. They beat, their big brother in the division in the playoff. They beat the Steelers. And it was like, holy shit, it's a new age for the Cleveland Browns, and they want an adult at QB, so they signed a serial rapist.
Yep.
And that's just what they do. That's just Cleveland staying classy.
Stay classy, Cleveland.
Yeah. So I won't go further into that. I mean, they'll have maybe a fringe playoff hope for this year, and then after that they'll go back to irrelevancy.
Yeah, they'll fizzle out. Daniel?
So I think we can all agree the Browns. That was on my list.
Yeah.
It wasn't more draft. It was kind of more how they handled it and how they had to recoup with the Jags, with how they managed their wide receiver room before the draft. And then they were kind of forced to take like Brian Thompson Jr. in the middle of there. But another team, I wasn't a big fan of their draft. They got probably a generational wide receiver out of it, but the Giants, they didn't seem to do much. Like, they filled a couple of their holes, but they didn't have a lot of picks. They took Neighbors, which he's going to be solid if Daniel Jones can play football, but they panicked at a defensive back in the third. They took one of the best safeties, but they should have taken a defensive back or a cornerback in the second instead of a safety. They drafted a tight end in a maybe replacement for a retiring Darren Waller, who just signed like a 3-year contract last year. And then the replacement for Barkley is Tyrone Tracy Jr. from Purdue.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not moved really by any of the, except for Neighbors will be good.
He doesn't seem happy to be there at all. He got off the bus and he looked pissed. He got drafted. He was pissed. It's like
I would be too.
So is that going to carry over into the season? Like, is he just not going to care for 3 years, 4 years?
Good question. They just had so many holes to fill and such limited draft capital. And they picked a bunch of positions that don't even really move the needle for them.
Didn't take a single offensive lineman.
Yes, I was just thinking that they need OL help bad.
Every team does.
But I think that theirs is worse than just, we want to get a couple extra linemen. Just have a couple extra linemen, like Kansas City,
They have to be one of the only teams that didn't take some type of offensive help. Or offensive line help.
I guess you could technically consider a tight end an offensive lineman in some context.
Saying like an offensive tackle, offensive.
No, I know exactly what you mean. You mean the front five. Yeah. But I'm just saying you could maybe say that. But yeah. Theo Johnson is not he's not blocking well enough to save that offensive line. I can tell you that much.
No, not at all.
So any other shit teams from the draft from the game?
I wasn't going to bring it up actually, but now that you say it.
God, I know exactly. No, the Cowboys had a great draft. You looked at one guy who was a Cowboys hater. Our draft was fine. We always draft well. We just get kicked in the ass during free agency. Guyton was a good pickup.
Who was I going to say? Who did you think I was going to say?
You were going to say Cowboys.
Before even okay
I knew whenever you hopped on and you immediately I heard the Cowboys got a C- grade, and I'm just like, I saw exactly which publication you were looking at like 20 minutes ago, and I said, no, I'm not going to go based off yours.
Well, technically they gave.
I don't hate the Cowboys draft.
I was reading the grades wrong, so I thought they gave him a C, but they gave him a B, so it's a little better.
Yeah,
they're supposedly all in
offensive linemen. Okay, we don't need to go there. We're definitely not all in because
no receiver into the.
You got Zeke. Round. You are all in.
Zeke.
Yeah, if it was Zeke from 6-7 years ago, I was so mad because they kept posting all these highlights, and I'm like, bro, these highlights are from the Obama administration. These are not.
Those are my highlights, dude. That was my favorite thing. As I saw them they were like, oh, Cowboy, watch out for the Cowboys. They just got a monster. And they were posting Ezekiel Elliott highlights. And the subtweet says, I see a Native American logo on that field. And it's like, you can't be posting highlights from 2016, man.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's like Tony Romo was still on our sideline whenever these highlights were out.
Yeah.
That is 3 presidents ago. 3, not Biden, not Trump. It was Obama. 3 presidents ago. We had a global pandemic in between. Okay.
He got a haircut in between there.
Yeah, Tanner got a haircut during that time.
I was saying Zeke.
Oh.
I'm like, I've had a lot of haircuts since 2015.
I'd hope so. I cut your hair the one time.
When we shaved it?
Why it was fucked up?
Yeah. No, he dyed it purple during the first week of COVID, and 2 months later, he's like, "Can you just shave my head?" So I was like, "Sheep."
I look good.
Tanner, I love your spirit because you're just willing to just be like, screw it, I'll try it. Why not?
It was either bright purple or shaved head.
Things.
Yeah.
I love it.
Life's too short.
Let's we're gonna kick it over to one more commercial break. It's we only have one commercial these days, so y'all got to listen to Western States again. Sorry about that, but we'll be right back after this.
Please sponsor us.
Yes, please sponsor us. So then that way we can have more commercials. We'll see y'all soon.
Do you have a job yet?
Okay.
Picture this: you're the proud owner of a business, and you've got it all: the hustle, the bustle, and the occasional office kitchen mishap that turns into an alarm-triggering emergency.
Oh!
But fear not. Western States Fire Protection is here to turn your workplace into a disaster-free zone. Our in-house team handles everything from fire sprinklers to alarms and monitoring, inspections, extinguishers, and more.
Whew. Crisis averted. Thanks, Western States Fire Protection.
No problem. We've been protecting lives and property since 1985, and we take our job seriously, even when your employees don't.
Oh no, not again.
Visit WSFP.com to request a quote. Because when your microwave thinks it's a flamethrower, we're the heroes you need.
I have a job with foster care.
Well, speaking of foster care, we are back, but we're still talking about the draft, which kind of feels like foster care because it's like kids getting adopted to just random places that they have no control over. So,
wow. What a transition.
Hey, listen, brother, we wanted to make the foster care joke. I made the foster care joke. So let's end the show with who our top 3 picks of the draft were, and just kind of give us reasons why. And since we're talking about foster care and the man who just got a job in foster care, Tanner, who are your 3 before you disappear again, like many dads in foster care or pre-foster care? Excuse me. Oh, dude, I'm going.
I really like Xavier Legette. So he actually. Xavier Legette, he would probably have been like my second favorite receiver from the draft, which is kind of crazy because I think he was the 6th dude taken. He was taken. I mean, he was taken after Ricky Purcell. So he was taken pretty late. He was taken 32nd pick. The reason I like him so much is just because I really love players that are like George Pickens that have that really good body control. They can kind of like turn on it, like, they can just catch pretty much anything because they have such good body control and they have such good hands and they're really good jump ball guys. So I was kind of hoping that he would go in the 2nd and the Steelers would take him and we'd just have 2 of those guys because that'd be crazy. But of course that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, no, I just really liked Xavier Legette. I think it's going to be great for Carolina to have him. I also like that he's like a South Carolina guy. So that really helps, like, having for the Panthers having like a hometown dude, like he was in South Carolina his whole life, he stays in Carolina. That always just helps gets fans like really bought into a player. So I really like that pick. I thought it was a home run pick for them. A lot of people really shit on the Chargers at first for going for Joe Alt, which I did not understand at all.
I love Joe Alt.
I thought Joe Alt was a home run pick. And people just really wanted them to get Malik Neighbors, I guess, like a lot of Chargers fans. They're like, oh, you need to get receiver. We lost Keenan Allen. Like, oh, it's stupid that you go O-line. But Joe Alt, I mean, that dude's going to be a franchise tackle. Like, that guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. And the clip of him getting drafted, and you see just like the most dripless guy you've ever seen in your life, in this cabin with like a zipper, like polo thing and like some slacks, and he gets up and hugs in the most awkward way. You're like, yeah, this guy, 15-year career, 15 Pro Bowls, Hall of Fame.
He didn't even hug his mom, did he? He just stood up and was like, yeah.
All business, baby. All business.
No, he gave his dad a massive bear hug. Yeah. No, I saw that clip and I saw the discourse around it. I thought that it was thought it was hilarious, but also at the same time, like, he's going to be the guy that's going to have 2 like giant leg braces, and he's going to be like 38 years old and still pancaking people.
Yeah. No, he's going to be insane.
Yeah.
And then the last guy that I really liked Detroit getting Terry and Arnold towards the end of the first round. Sorry, sir.
That's okay.
Terry and Arnold would probably have been the first cornerback that should have gone off the board. And the fact that they fell into the Lions and they're probably the most cornerback desperate team was really big for them. So
any of the top defensive backs were falling to cornerbacks were falling to the Lions apparently because no one wanted to take defense. And it worked really well that what I thought was the best one got to them. So yeah.
Danny, I'm verifying a stat real quick, so I'm going to kick it over to you for your 3 real quick.
Yeah, so I guess I can take one of mine off the board real quick and Terry Arnold, but I can go another cornerback. I do like Quinion Mitchell. I love when little small group of 5 schools to have a good prospect coming out of Toledo. Yeah, Mac school, baby. So I hope he does well. I do like him, especially with the Eagles defense who needed help. I said it earlier. I love the Dallas Turner pick. I think he is going to be phenomenal in the NFL. What's his comp is Josh Allen, the good Josh Allen.
Hey.
6'7", 250. Do they have his 40-yard dash on here? No. Or ran a 4.4. He ran a 4.4. A 4.46 in the 40.
That is moving at that size, too.
He
That's
is
ridiculous.
absolutely flying. And then, as much as I hate it, just the team that he fell with, I do like Xavier Worthy. So both Xavier's out of the first round. He's just good.
Yeah.
And like, if he went to any other team, I'd feel more excited. But he just had to go to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Like, even if he went to Buffalo, I wouldn't have cared. Like,
oh no, I'd have been pissed if he went to Buffalo.
I don't care. I'm not as big as a Buffalo hater as you are.
I like for them to remain in their place. You know, as
That's
the
fair.
four-time Super Bowl losing, you know, and they need to remember who they are at all times.
No, yeah. Fair. Whatever you say.
Incredibly unbiased journalism here, y'all.
No, yeah. But
I just love that you hate Buffalo because to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you root for an NFC team. You're not close to each other geographic wise, but you're just like, yeah, fuck that team. I can't stand them.
And like in the same division as New England, out of all teams too. Like
New England's fine.
But
I don't.
I mean, I hated them during the Brady era just because I was tired of watching them win. But that's I am a hater of the Bills because the Bills are a hater of the Cowboys. And I like to remind Bills fans that while you might hate the Cowboys, there's a reason why you hate the Cowboys. It's because you're not them.
I feel like we've had this conversation over the last 7 years, Tanner, with someone else, but that's a different conversation. Yeah. I'm just hating people. But I do want to give an honorary mention to Brock Bowers. His career started really good and ended very badly going to the Raiders.
Oh.
If he went to 31 other teams, I feel like he'd be a very good rookie tight end. But he went to the Raiders with Aiden O'Connell as their quarterback.
See, that's the same way I feel about Bo Nix, right? I feel like if Bo Nix went anywhere else, franchise guy. But to the Broncos, that guy's career screwed.
The thing is,
right
out quarterback, the gate. They can kind of control their own thing, but like a tight end, you're just there.
Yeah. You're at the
no, man. The Denver's gonna find a way, man. They're gonna ruin them.
I am not saying Bo Nix is in a good spot, but as a quarterback, you can help yourself a little bit more than a tight end.
That's true.
Well, unfortunately for me, my most favorite pick from the draft was Bo Nix. Yeah.
Oops. Hey, at least I don't like JJ McCarthy more than I hate JJ McCarthy more than Bo Nix. So.
Well, but so to Tanner's point, yes, I do worry with Bo going to Denver specifically, just because they've been such a shit show of a franchise as of recent. But as far as the best quarterback that came out of the draft, it was Bo Nix.
No, yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why Minnesota didn't take Bo Nix.
Yeah,
they were set up for success. But they take the older Josh or Zach Wilson.
Here's the thing that's crazy to me. That's going to sound crazy. I think JJ McCarthy's probably going to turn out to be pretty good because I trust the Vikings organization to not destroy him, and I think Bo Nix is going to be a bust because the Broncos are so incompetent. So it's going to be this crazy thing where it's like I think as prospects, I have Bo Nix a league above JJ McCarthy. Mm-hmm. In the NFL, I think JJ McCarthy's actually going to be a pretty good starter just because
he has a team around him. Yeah.
He's going to a better organization. That's fair.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it works. The NFL is brutal.
My other top picks, you already said it, Danny, but Xavier Worthy. I think he will be the only non-quarterback that's in the Offensive Player of the Year discussions.
Marvin Harrison Jr.?
No, it's going to be Xavier Worthy. It is going to be Xavier Worthy. I'm sorry. Pat Mahomes is going to turn him into Tyreek 2.0. You can bookmark this, Danny. I know you got notes right now. I know you're time stamping things. Bookmark this statement. Xavier Worthy will be the only non-quarterback in the Offensive Player of the Year discussion. Just saying.
You know, Tyreek Hill wasn't Tyreek Hill year one, right? Took him a couple years.
Yeah, but he didn't have Pat first year, did he?
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't think he did. No.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
Pat was drafted 2017.
My sources,
Yes.
trust me, bro.
I would agree with you, but MHJ is a monster, and I think he is going to be really, really good this year.
I think he's going to be good, but I think that Worthy is going to put up ungodly stats, and not because he's a better player, but simply because he has Patrick Mahomes. I think that's how it's gonna. I think that's how the cookie's gonna crumble.
And it's not a bad assessment. Like I get where your logic's at. I just think there's a lot of really good receivers in this draft, so I think somebody else is going to sneak their way in that conversation.
Fair enough. My other pick is another Longhorn, Jonathan Brooks. I thought that Carolina was great to get him in the second round. I think that he would have been a first-round pick if it wasn't for injury history. He would have been, honestly, a top 5 to 10 pick if it weren't for injury history. Guy was just an absolute animal. Aside from being injured. So I think that that's going to be super exciting. And then I do have, I have a honorable mention as well. And it's really funny just considering how much shit I just talked about the Buffalo Bills. But Keon Coleman, simply because he is so funny. Dude, yeah. I hope he has a good, long, illustrious career, not with the Bills, but I hope that he does great things in the NFL.
No, I love Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman's hilarious. I hope he has a good career. That's also why I really like Xavier Legette as well. Because have you listened to that guy talk?
No, I haven't, but I will look it up now.
Look up an interview with him. He has the best accent I've ever heard. It is the most like Southern hillbilly accent ever, and it's awesome. You can't understand him.
No,
I mean, I'm sure I'll understand him because I'm going to be working in rural South Carolina for my job at some point. But like right now, I can't understand anything that guy says.
Yeah,
well, the challenge accepted because I grew up around some hillbillies, so I can understand a little Southern twang.
I can't wait till we start getting we already have 2005 to 2010 kids getting drafted, born in 2005, born in 2010, just because their generation, even later as we get older, it's just gonna be funny hearing them come out of college.
Is going to be interesting.
It's just
also
going to be weird.
Before we get to wrap up, I will say something that was a cool stat I saw. I think the Polynesian population of the United States, the Pacific Islander population, is 0.03%, or it's 0.3% or something like that. I think it's 0.3. Yeah, it's 0.3%, and I think it was something crazy. There's been 250 Polynesian players in the NFL. So they were saying a Pacific Islander kid in the United States has a 1 in 1,000 chance of being drafted into the NFL.
Jeez.
Because a lot of Polynesian players went in this draft.
Yeah,
a lot of Pacific Islanders.
Offensive guard, the O-line had a lot of.
Well, Danny and I, it was actually whenever Fatinu got drafted.
What the heck? It did again.
What happened? Did you kick it? Technical issue.
Wow, Danny. I'm not doing anything. He's just kicking everyone out. But when Fatinu got drafted.
Yeah, when Fatinu got drafted, I was telling Danny about dude, Polynesian people are just built different. They are built to just be specimens.
Yeah.
Big, fast, strong, athletic. Like, you'll have a Polynesian dude who's, 6'5", 325, and they're running, a 4.7 40, and you're like, how can you be that big and run that fast?
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for Fata now because the last time the Steelers drafted a Polynesian guy named Troy went pretty well for us.
It worked out for y'all. So
he had luscious hair.
He did. And Fata has pretty good hair too.
That's true. But about players that are like taking over, I saw Alex Mauchow. He did an article on the Australian NFL pathway program, and those offensive linemen that will come out, like he was saying, come out of Australia in the next 5-10 years are going to be massive,
insane. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of
like this. Yeah, and it's just like just be ready for the Australian takeover of offensive line in the next 5-10 years.
I'm here for it.
Me too.
Well, cool. That takes us to the end of the show, everyone. Thanks so much for listening again. You can always rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just like we asked at the beginning of the show, if you do rate us 5 stars, comment $5 footlong. That's all we're asking. Subway, give us a sponsorship. You probably need one since the last big sponsored person you had ended up being a pedophile and is now locked away in Colorado of all places. So great place to start is with us because we're not pedophiles, but we still live in Colorado.
Y'all don't put me in this conversation.
You can also follow us on social media. We are at @4thdown_pod on Twitter and at Fourth Down Fiasco on the soon-to-be dead TikTok as well as Instagram. And yeah, that's been the show. Thanks so much for checking us out.
I have 2 things real quick.
Ooh, 2 things. What you got?
2 things. First thing, be on the lookout for our separate podcast stuff that's coming kind of soon.
Yeah.
Our little announcements. We
will be having some separate pods, some individual pods for
or just social media stuff in general. It's not going to strictly be podcasts. So if you want a team and we don't have it, reach out. It has to be an alliteration. I don't know why it started, but it's going to continue
here for whatever reason.
And I'm forgetting my other thing because I had to cut you off. So, Fan Base Fiasco will be back next week.
Yes. We just with the recap, it was just so long that we'll bring back somebody for next week. I don't know who we have lined up, but we have somebody, I'm sure.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right.
Be in there, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Peace out, everyone. We appreciate y'all.
Peace.
Adios.
And I'm gonna keep doing them both because they make me feel good.